happy are you to have that mess behind and back on the field?
You said it. Yeah, it's a mess. It's behind us, and I'm looking forward to getting back to some sense of normalcy here. It's just good to get back with the guys, meet our coaching staff for the first time. So it's good. Sense of normalcy is a good thing.
Just talk about what a process that was. Did you expect it to be that long when all this began?
It was a long process. It wore me out at times, especially those last couple of weeks. But again, that part of it's behind me now, and I'm just focused on the here and the now and getting this team to be as good as possible moving forward.
How much of your career have you played in a defensive style would be similar to Dick Brown?
Quite a bit, actually. I mean, coming up on 10 years now. This is my 7th defensive coordinator, and I played in every combination and variation of defense there is. So I've done a lot of this on both sides, outside. I played inside in this system. So it's a good system. It's fun. It lets guys play fast. I think it's a very safety-friendly defense, which I like. You know, I like some of the guys we have back there. And I talk about DeQuell all the time. A system like this is built for a player of his talent. I mean, he's going to be so good in this defense. You guys just wait.
What can you say about Usama Young? You were with him for a little bit in New Orleans. Maybe we don't know him.
Yeah, exceptional athlete. He's one of those guys that can do everything on the back end. If you want him to play nickel cover, he can do that. He can lock you down as a corner. He's big, he's rangy, good leaping ability, great ball skills. I think they moved him to safety probably last year down in New Orleans. And I always feel like body type wise and skill set wise, that's probably what he's most suited to doing. Awesome guy too. I mean, he was real deep in that community down there, real active and involved with kids. Just a really, really good person. So I'm glad he's here.
Ready to be on the field more? I mean, it looks like he's got a chance.
No question about it. They have a really good backfield down there in New Orleans, and it was tough for him to break in on an every down basis. So this is a good opportunity for him.
Scott, what is it about this defense that you think will be that DeQuell Jackson will thrive in?
Well, he's such a good athlete. We all know that. He's got that good sideline to sideline range, and depending on where he ends up, he's starting everybody out and stay at a couple different spots to get a look. But I think wherever he plays, he's going to be good in this defense because it's an opportunity where he's kind of covered up and protected, going to have a few big bodies in front of him, and he can run around, run through gaps, make plays on the ball, and that's what he is. He's just an athlete. He's a football player. And I think 3-4 system obviously is a good defense. A lot of teams are kind of making the move to a 3-4, but for a guy like him, you don't want him to be face to face with a 350-pound guard, play after play after play, just cracking his head. This is a chance where he can be an athlete and go make plays.
I think the term you used, you said this was a very safety-first defense.
A safety-friendly defense. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, when you got a guy like T.J. Ward, I think you want to have the ability to get him down in the paint sometimes and mix it up, and in backside run support stuff like that. A guy like him, you want in the box making plays on the ball carrier, and he'll have an opportunity to do that. Overall, though, I mean, they'll be making a lot of the coverage adjustments on the back end. I think that's a good thing. I think that's healthy. I think I've been in some systems where the linebackers have to do all that, and it's tough because we don't have the same eyes that they do on the back end. They can see the big picture, and for them to make some of those coverage adjustments, that's a good thing.
How does your role change, Scott, in the 4-3 compared to the 3-4?
Well, it's just a totally different scheme. Again, we're going to be off the ball now primarily every play as linebackers, and that's fine. Again, I like anytime you draft a big defensive lineman in the first round. I like that. Keep those guys off me. so it'll be a good thing. For us to be stacked off the ball, have a chance to run around, much like with DeQuell and Chris. We're going to have chances to run through untouched sometimes and make plays, and that part of it's fun.
Young. What about him?
What's that?
The new guy, Young. What do you know about him?
Usama Young? Yeah, great guy. Yeah, we were just talking about that in New Orleans. Exceptional athlete, very versatile. He can do anything on the back end.
And you've gotten to know Shermer now for 24 hours.
Oh yeah. We go way back. Yeah.
I mean, why should we expect him to be the guy now?
I had my first sit-down conversation with him yesterday afternoon, and obviously I spoke to him on the phone quite a bit in the last few days. Before the lockout started, we were on the phone quite a bit, and he just has a good temperament about him. I like the things he says. He says the right things. He carries himself really, really well. He's confident, and he kind of sets everybody at ease. I mean, to come in a first practice like this today, after basically 12 hours of install, and for it to run as smooth as it did, I was pretty impressed with that. And I think he came in yesterday, he was simple, his message was clear. It's about being efficient, it's about being sharp, and it's about doing the right thing. And I think guys respect that, and guys came out ready to work. And guys they've been waiting to work, and it was a good first day.
How much different was day one without any OTAs or mini camps than a normal day one of training camp?
Honestly, the actual practice part of it, I don't think was that much different. Again, I feel like everything was pretty smooth. It was pretty clean. We didn't have a bunch of mental errors and stuff like that. And again, that's on basically 12 hours of install. So the thing that was most interesting and I guess bizarre was that we came in yesterday and we had to cram a bunch of stuff into a couple-hour window of time. You had to accelerate through some meetings again this morning. So that part of it can be a challenge. But guys, I think, are ready to learn. Guys are fresh. I think we had gotten enough stuff done this offseason where it wasn't like they were speaking Greek to us. So that was a good thing. I think everything we put in the offseason, regardless of whether the coaches were there or not, it's a good thing. It was healthy to get the guys together and try to get all the guys speaking the same language.
The date of August 4th for guys that signed yesterday can't practice till then. Is that going to be moved up? And what's the point of waiting August 4th?
I really don't know. I mean, a lot of that is the lawyer part of it, which is, I'm not schooled in antitrust law or labor law. Much of this is way over my head, and I've been kind of learning on the run. But yeah, that part of it is interesting. I feel bad for the guys. Like Usama, who's here, he wants to get on the field with his new teammates, and it's tough. And it's weird seeing a guy like Phil Dawson over there waiting for a margarita. Can't even, not that he'd be mixing it up anyway, but.
Shouldn't the guys who are on the executive council be allowed out till August 4th?
Hey, that's pretty good. That's not a bad thought. You put that out there for me. It'll take a couple of days. No, but it's an interesting process, and a lot of new faces too. I mean, there's a lot of guys right now who are filling up these spots, and it gives them an opportunity to come in and shine, and we need the bodies.
Scott, the fact that you guys didn't bring in a blockbuster free agent for the defense, are you guys going to be okay as a defense?
I think we will. I mean, we're still just getting to know everybody. So that's what training camp's about, finding out what you got and trying to make the best of what you got. I think we all have nothing but confidence in Tom Heckert and Mike Holmgren and Pat Shermer and really everybody in the organization to bring in the right kind of guys who fit their vision and to play as good as we can. And that's all we can do right now.
How important is it for Phil to get here as the #1 pick and a big spot in the middle of that defensive line and a new defense with Dick Duran and everything like that, putting it in?
It's important, I think. I think we're all waiting for him to get in. I imagine that gets done, pretty soon here. But yeah, he's a guy, like I said, I already said my feelings about, first-round pick, defensive lineman. I like that. I got to know him a little bit down in Austin a few weeks back, and I like him. He's got the right temperament, big body guy. Sounds like he's a great athlete, and I'll take all the big D linemen I can get.
Scott, how are you feeling physically after the way last season ended?
I feel great. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. As far as knee injuries go, I guess that was a good one. MCL, tear, but no surgery required. So, by about January, February, I was feeling great. Full speed again. So, I've had months and months now to be able to do, run full speed between that and the labor stuff.
Are you concerned about the condensed preseason with so many young guys, second-year players, rookies, and that, and this team moving forward, where you have a lot of veteran teams that already know everything and kind of just come in and pick up where they left off?
Yeah, I've said all along throughout the whole process of lockout too, it's not an ideal situation. We just kind of have to make the best of it, and no one's going to feel sorry for us. This is what it is. This is the hand we've been dealt, and guys got to come in, they got to adapt, and they have to adapt fast. And we're going to have to learn on the run and get this thing going as soon as possible. And it's tough because it's not like we play in an easy division. We know what's in front of us. It's not going to be easy, but again, no excuses.
Scott, how strange was it, though? I mean, you've been around a long time to come up with a work stoppage in a situation like this to the first day, not to worry about 2 days. Just how strange was it for a first day like today after what you've been through?
Well, it's been strange for everybody around the league, and not just from a player standpoint. Walking through the building yesterday for the first time and talking to the guys upstairs. I mean, it's been a mess for them too. Everything's just been so chaotic. And you think about guys, who play for Baltimore and Dallas, who basically had to start reporting within 24 hours after the settlement agreement was reached last Monday. I mean, imagine that, having to relocate your family and ship your cars and find a sitter for your pets and get your mail forwarding done and your automatic bill pay. I mean, all those things had to get done in an abbreviated period of time. So. There's a certain human element involved in all this that kind of gets lost, and everybody's excited to get football back. But when it gets back in a hurry.
You like the real 2 days?
Do I?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of those things that I think it's been long overdue. Football now is enough of a year-round business where guys keep themselves in shape. I mean, you come in, see the way the guys were in shape today after having no off-season with our coaches, and this is a year-round job that guys take seriously. So. The point behind not having 2 days anymore is trying to reduce the number of subconcussive impacts that players have. We all know about how dangerous football is. Most of us understand the inherent risk in playing football. So I think the thing you want to reduce as much as possible, like I said, is those hits, those helmet-to-helmet collisions, the offensive and defensive linemen, play after play, just cracking heads. It's not so much the big, ESPN highlight type, blows you're talking about, the knockout type concussions, but it's 60 or 70 of those subconcussive blows every day in practice, twice a day, a whole training camp. I read a stat a couple years ago after a study that I think 60% of the reported injuries in a given season happen in the first 2 weeks of training camp. And to me, that's just not smart. So it's about doing things the right way. It's about being smarter, keeping guys fresh, and prolonging guys' careers. And that's what this is about.
Scott, where is the players' union right now as far as during this time where you were locked out things that happen to players off the field that would be considered punishable offenses in the league. Where is that as far as now moving forward? Will those count against players? Are you guys trying to get that taken care of so it won't count against the players?
Yeah, those conversations will start today and will carry into August 4th. And I don't want to talk too much about what's being discussed because honestly, I don't want to be a distraction. You know, I'm here now. I want to minimize as much of that as possible and make it about football. I'm sure I'll still have some work to do when I get back to the hotel room and be on some calls and exchange some emails. But in terms of what's being discussed, I'd rather stay away from that and you know, kind of let that happen.
When you look at last year's training camp, you were new to the team. Looking back at it, where did that rank as far as physical camps you've been?
Ooh, I've had some brutal camps now. I mean, I was at Dick Vermeil for 4 years, and who's about as good as a guy as it gets. But man, he will kick your ass in training camp now. I mean, one of my favorite guys of all time. But he used to just beat the hell out of us. Then I got traded to Dallas after the training camp had ended. Otherwise, I would have been able to experience a Bill Parcells camp. And then I go down and sign with the Saints in free agency. And our first camp was in Jackson, Mississippi. And I remember the first day on an old school AstroTurf field of a Millsaps College, and the heat index was 127 degrees. So I've been through some nasty ones now. Last year, you know, regardless of the perception of Eric Mangini and what I had heard coming into it, it really wasn't nearly as bad as I expected it to be. So now that I'm kind of on the back nine of my career, it seems like things keep getting easier and easier. And if this would have happened 8 years ago, maybe I would have played 15 or 16 years. I don't know.
Scott, the importance of bringing in winners. Yourself last year after winning a Super Bowl. Jackson won a Super Bowl last year with Green Bay. Osama with New Orleans. How important is that to an organization that hasn't won for however many years?
I think it is important. You know, some of the places I've been, some of those coaches try to do the same kinds of things. I remember at one point when I was a rookie, Dick Vermeil asking everybody who had either won a Super Bowl or played in a Super Bowl to raise their hands, and it was like 2 or 3 guys. The next year, I feel like there were 5 or 6, and I feel like the same thing happened in New Orleans, where they started bringing in guys like David Patton from New England, Heath Evans from New England, a number of these guys who had been on, you know, in winning programs. And I think the biggest thing is, especially for young players, you never know what you might learn from an older guy. And you know, guys like that, I think they understand the responsibility. They've been in organizations where it's such a team-first mentality, and they really want to take those younger players under their wing. So the more guys you can have that can set the right example, I think that goes a long, long way.
Scott, have you guys held the recertification vote yet?
We did last night. Yes, I mean, everybody probably read. Yeah, the NFLPA is now a union again. Yeah. So our vote took place yesterday. Everything was done on an expedited basis. I held a quick team meeting, kind of run everybody through their options, tell them, you know, kind of the pros and cons of where we were. And to a man, each player had to make the decision for himself and decide, you know, whether he wanted to reconstitute or not.
But then can't that, other than August 4th date was coupled with that, maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I mean, it's about entering a new phase of CBA discussions, issues that we hadn't been able to talk about before because we were in a union. So things like player safety, health and safety benefits, player conduct discipline, drug policy.
My point is, can those guys practice now that you are in union again? Or?
No, because the new league year hasn't started yet. So I think essentially what it is that those players agree to terms on a new contract, but it's under what will become the new CBA. So there's no CBA at this point. The guys who signed before the lockout had started, they signed under what was the previous CBA. So there's all these, again, lawyer mumbo jumbo, but glad I'm not a lawyer.